Hello. Uh, Hello, everyone. Good morning. Warm welcome to all of you. We are here today for third and final day of National Webinar on Research Methodology, organized by Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti's College of Law. In last 2 days, we explored different aspects of research methodology like literature review, defining a research problem, principles and application of qualitative research and quantitative research. Today, we have very interesting sessions, use of reference management tools and data visualization. Both these topics are very significant for any research. I'm sure it would really help participants in their respective research projects. Our first guest speaker is here with us with a permission. Uh, I think we should proceed towards our first session. I request Assistant Professor Saisha Gusarkar, ma'am, to introduce our first guest speaker. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Divyang sir. A very pleasant morning to everyone. I, Assistant Professor Saisha Gusarkar, on behalf of HVPS College of Law, welcome you to the third day national webinar on research methodology. Today we have with us Dr. Akhilesh Yadav sir, Assistant Professor CLIMS TIS Mumbai. He has participated in several seminars and workshops and published several research papers in research journals and conference proceedings. He is also working an editor of International Journal for Information Research. He has also recently announced as the winner of 2021 Emerald Publication LIS Research Fund Award for his research project. Sir is going to highlight on the topic use of reference management tool. I welcome you, sir. Kindly enlighten our participants with your vast experience and knowledge. Over to you, sir. Audible?
Hello, we can't hear you, sir. Sir, you are not audible actually.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, then I have to do this. Okay, thank you, all faculty members and participants. A very good morning to one and all who's attending this webinar. So I'm going to discuss about reference management tool and what is a reference, what is citation, and why we should use references and citation for our research, and what are different tools can be used for managing references. So first I'll take 15 to 20 minutes for a presentation, and then I'll demonstrate a very popular reference management tool, that is Jotaro. And there is one more popular software that is Mendeley, but I'll cover only one part because I am told to engage the session for just 1 hour. So I'll try to sum up everything within 1 hour. Obviously, this session is going to be very insightful to all of you. Okay, so let me share my PPT first. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Good. So everyone is very much familiar with the citation and reference management tool. So I'll go to one by one. I have very few slides, as I mentioned. First, I'll cover this important discussion on this topic, and then I'll demonstrate Jotaro software. Okay, so when we talk about citation, so basically citation is giving acknowledgement, credit from where we take some idea. Okay, so and one more thing, a citation, references, bibliographies, these are very fundamental of research work. Okay, whenever you get some idea or take some idea from other sources, we have to acknowledge properly. And there are, there are so many citation standard. There are more than 10,000 citation standard styles. So it is a very difficult. And one more thing, when we download papers from various sources, as there are many bibliographical reference management platform. There are many service provider. For example, the most popular one, which is freely available, that is a Google Scholar. So when you search anything, you shoot some keyword and get millions of papers on any topic. You search Indian judiciary, you search climate change, you'll get millions of papers. Okay, and how to manage, how to organize these all papers, very difficult. So when we download paper from these sources, we keep in folder. And retrieving important articles out of folder is very, very difficult. It's a very tedious work to organize, very tedious job to arrange this in systematic author. You won't find author's title and other unless you open that PDF file. So can we can use the reference management tool for organizing our huge resources. So producing bibliography is also very time consuming. When you might have faced problem while writing papers or assignment, giving citation, in-text citation, at the end, arranging bibliographies or references. And as I mentioned, there are many standard style manuals. So it is the most popular one, for example, in social sciences is American Psychological Association. But like APA, there are more than 10,000 standard styles. So there are many tools exist. There are more than 100 softwares exist to manage all these references and citations. So I'm going to cover only one or two citation management tools. And first and foremost, important thing about citation. Why do we give citation? What motivates us to give citation? So there are so many reasons. I have listed here few reasons which motivate us to give citation. So generally, when I ask this question to my student, why we give citation? So they simply say to give credit. Okay, so that is not only one reason. We have so many reasons to give credit, especially in scholarly communication, research, and publication. We have to take care of all these things. So first one is to paying homage to the pioneers who, this concept, new ideas. We must give credit to that author. Okay, and for research work, we do background reading, literature review. For that also, we have to see whether there is a lack of any research or someone has left some research work. So I'm going to complete that. For that reason, we have to give citation. And identifying methodology, equipments, tools. For example, someone has done survey study in Maharashtra. So I should not repeat the same thing. I have to find out some different ways to do research. My research, I'll be using different tools. I should not repeat the same method. Okay, if someone has done recently. You can also correct your own work or someone else's work, and can criticize a previous work if someone has done some research. So we have all freedom to criticize and give critical opinions about the previous published work. And some, poorly disseminated work must give citation, or those who are not properly indexed or uncited works. For example, many gray literatures which are not available in public domain, like thesis, dissertations. These are many literature which are not available on public domain, are not published by popular publishers. So that that works should be also cited. So authenticating data and facts, this is one reason, and identifying origin publication in which an idea or concept was discussed. So these are reasons we give citation or references. Now, what citation is? So citation, you are very much familiar. We give in-text citation, in piece of work. When you give in-text citation, for example, if you are citing someone else's work, then you mention within text. Okay, and you mention with author's surname with year of publication. Again, this author surname and year of publication is just one standard style. There are many other styles. For example, it can be arranged into chronological order in numeric system. So that is a British style. So in text, we mention actually author surname and year of publication. At the end of our research work or project or assignment, we mention all those cited works with all metadata, with proper with all details like authors, subject, title, year of publication, location, place of publication. All these details must be given at the end of publication. So this is a citation, and there is one more thing, references. As I mentioned, you need to mention all details at the end of publication. So that is a called reference. There are two things. There are two types of reference. The first one is reference, and second one is bibliography. So what is difference between reference and bibliography? So at the end, when you mention reference, it means all these works are in text cited, okay, already cited in your text. And at the bibliography, if you want to give some additional resources to your readers, that comes under bibliography. Okay, so this is a difference between reference and bibliography. So I have listed here how references are arranged. So sometimes it is arranged into alphabetical order, and sometimes it is arranged into chronological order. So as I mentioned in the beginning, there are two types of citation references. First one is Howard style, and this is also known as author date system. So in text citation, while writing, when you mention author's surname and year of publication of any research paper, magazine, or whatever, okay, and British standard style, when you follow 1, 2, 3 chronological order, okay, or numeric system. So this is the way we give citation. First, we give in-text citation in our paper, and at the end, we arrange all references and bibliographies. And we collect, for example, if you have collected papers from research papers, conference proceedings, books, edited books, symposium. So all must be arranged into a systematic order. At the end of paper comes under references and bibliographies. So when I was talking about standard style manual, so as I, these are very popular standard style manuals used in different subjects. But there are more than 10,000 standard style manuals. The most popular one in social science and humanities is APA, or American Psychological Association standard style, Chicago standard style. Humanities, again, one more very popular standard is Turabian. In science, you see all these standard styles used in different subjects. For example, in medical, NML is very popular standard style manual. MLA is very popular in language and linguistics. In for example, many journals or news magazines use their in-house developed standard style manual. Like one of the most popular magazine in India, journal in India is EPW. So in EPW uses it's in-house developed standard style manual. So if you want to follow this standard style manual, you must read the instructions, how to give citation or references to the book, to the article, research papers, conference proceeding, or notes. Okay. Now different journals use. You see here I have mentioned EPW. It uses like this way. For example, you mention surname, comma, full first name, and then year of publication, colon. Okay, so this is the in-house developed standard style manual by EPW. So if many journals, Sage Journal Publication, Emerald Publication, Oxford Institute Press uses different standard style manual. Okay, so these are actually traditional ways to give citation. Earlier we used to give, you mention this IDEM and EBID, okay, offside. If you don't want to repeat the same thing, for example, you have already cited given in-text citation in your paper and you want to repeat the same thing, then don't write again and again, simply mention EBID. Okay, and if you have already cited in your text, for example, here after this first citation, and there is one more citation you added for coffee. Then again, if you are going to mention this Stanford N, then just mention offside. Okay. So guidelines for good citation. These are important things we must remember for giving proper citation references, that we must reproduce the correct references. We should not just copy and paste from other publication. We should check, we should verify all these details, metadata, what is the author name, surname. Even I have seen many citations which are, incorrectly or improperly cited by students. So they sometimes they do mistakes in giving year of publication. It creates a problem. It also creates problem for giving no citation to the author, those who have done some serious research work. So do not use empty references. Means empty references means you give proper citation to the researcher who has done research work. Don't just copy from other source. If you are giving taking some idea from other source, you give credit to only that research particular author. Okay. Use reliable sources. There are many. One term is very popular. That is called predatory journal. So they just cook data, publish without giving proper accreditation acknowledgement. So you should verify all those details, and do not misrepresent the content of the reference. Make clear which statement refers. So whenever you take, for example, if you are taking some definition from long pages like book 300 pages, so you mention exact page number in text citation. For example, if author is Peter Subir, so mention Subir, comma, a year of publication, then P. 152 page, so that reader can identify or find out the page number of that page. Okay. Definition. And check out the original. Do not copy someone else references. I have already mentioned. Do not cite out of date references unless you are citing the original idea which was given by someone else. So if you are taking some idea from the original publication, then only you give citation. Otherwise you focus more on, especially for research purpose, focus more on latest publications. And do not be unduly impressed by top journals. Do not necessary to give citation which are published in top journals like Nature or Cell or any any subject top journal. If someone has published good research work, you give acknowledgement, proper citation. Okay. Do not try to reason or conflict. Obviously you must give credit. You must give critical review to conflict evidence, and actively search for counter evidence. So always check whether someone has done some research work related to your work, then give critical review, critical opinion about the paper. Okay. So as I mentioned, there are so many tools, there are so many softwares for reference management. So, there are many open source software freely available. No need to pay a single penny for that. So these are Jotaro, Bibsonomy, JabRef, PyBibliographer, and there are many proprietary software with commercial publisher. So like here Mendeley, EndNote, RefWorks, and RateCube. These are actually proprietary software. But for open source software, no need to pay any subscription charge for these tools or software. And what are common features of all this software, whether commercial or open source software? So all software supports automatic capture of citation information. No need to capture or note down individually. For example, if you use this software, it will capture metadata, who's the author, year of publication, all details will be captured by this software. And automatic extraction of metadata from PDF file, it detects PDF file. If PDF file is generated by using LaTeX programming language, so can be easily extracted. All details, all metadata can be extracted in just one go. Even hundreds or thousands of papers can be extracted. All details will be fed into this software. And you can store the PDF files images, you can store links, and all whole web pages also in this software. And you get very playlist like library organization. When you download and save your paper in folder, it looks very hard. It's very difficult to find out which paper is important. For example, if you have 100 papers in your folder, so it's very difficult to retrieve the important one. But when you use this tools of this softwares, it will become very easy to identify author, year of publication, title. All metadata will be visible on the home page only, your home screen. And these tools are very much useful, compatible with MS Word or open source software. So you can cite while you write. Next, you get some storage. Okay, 300 MB space is available for our users in Jotaro, and 5 GB space is available in Mendeley. So you can store thousands of research papers. If you want more store, then you have to subscribe. You need to pay some subscription charges for that. But I think for 5 GB space, you can store more than 10,000 research papers, e-books, magazines, newsletters, everything can be stored in your research management tools. You can create, share, and collaborate with other users. For example, if you're working in project where there are many collaborators, then you can share your research work with many collaborators. For example, you want to say, if you are working with a supervisor, guide, okay, you can share all your references or only few folders with your supervisor. So this facility is very much available. You can upload all those in online cloud also. You get some space over there, and you can easily format citation and export your citation standard for a Word file as per journal styles. So okay, I mentioned already about this data storage. So very limited space is available, but for that for then also you can store thousands of research papers. And the most popular reference standard style format is RIS, okay, Rich Information System, and BibTeX. So we use for MS Word file, we have a standard format is file is, it is doc. Okay, so similar way for all reference management software, we have RIS and BibTeX format. And you can also add note in your PDF file. You can easily search and sort all those papers year wise, author, alphabetical order, title, okay, added. So all these features available in research management tools. You can link full text. You can also subscribe for individual organization or institutions. So these are all about basics of information management or reference management software. Now I'm going to demonstrate how can we use Jotaro management software. So I think many of you have this software, as I inform Ms. Neha to ask all participants to download and install Jotaro. So if you have already installed it, very good. If you don't, then I am going to tell you how to work with Jotaro, how to what interface looks like, and how you can import and export research papers. You can use it for citation and references. It will make your work very easy. Okay, for example, when you do it manually, it's very difficult to manage all those things: retrieving paper, giving citation, manually adding a page number, author, title, subject, or year of publication. If your guide is asking, no, you change the standard style manual. For example, you use APA standard style manual. Now your guide or supervisor or your mentor is asking to use different standards, Harvard style. Then it will take much time. But by using this tool, your work will become very, very easy. Okay, and in just single click, you can change thousands of papers in different style manual. Okay, so I'm going to stop my presentation and share Jotaro standard style reference management. Can you see my Jotaro, this one tool?
So PPT.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now able to see.
Okay. So you see, this is the Jotaro home page, and this is the website home page of Jotaro. Website address is www.jotaro.org. Okay, so from here you can download. This is very much compatible with all devices, operating systems. So you see here, this Mac, Windows, and Linux operating system. It is also very much compatible with Apple Macintosh. And one more thing, when you download this Jotaro, you'll also get two plugins by default. Okay, first one is a plugin for your browser. So browser will help you to scrape articles from online databases like Google Scholar, Web of Science, Scopus, or any publisher, Oxford University Press, Cambridge University Press. So this is the plugin which can help you to get the metadata. Okay, and one more plugin will be installed for MS Word. So MS Word, you can use it for citation, in-text citation references. Okay, let me complete about this basic features of Jotaro. So this is a home page, and here you see you can create many folders. So first, a panel, there are three panels basically. First panel is for folder, second panel is to see all papers, how many papers we uploaded, and third panel is for metadata. So metadata means all details of the research paper. For example, this is a research paper, and these are metadata like author, title, and abstract. You see, these are automatically extracted from the PDF file. Okay, volume number, issue number, DOI number, URL address. When you added this article in my library, so these all details are available. Here I can create many folders. For example, if I'm working on two project or assignments, so I can create folder. So just first icon, you hit on this icon. Just 1 second. Okay, my device is freezing. Yeah, so here you see first icon for folder. I'm going to create folder for assignment 1. Okay, assignment 1, hit OK. See, this folder will be created. I got assignment 1. Okay, so I want few papers from online, and I have a few offline papers which are downloaded, full text paper PDF file available on my desktop. So very simple. You see, you can import papers from this third link, third icon. Can you see this plus icon? I can store copy of file. Just click here, and these papers are available on my desktop. So I'm going to import only 2 articles. You see, these 2 articles I downloaded from Emerald. Okay, so one paper from export. So I simply imported these 2 PDF files in my library, and you see Jotaro is detecting all details. Who's the author, title, year of publication, everything. You see, this towards excellent in e-governance, and second paper identifying this metadata. Okay, it is taking some time. So I imported only PDF file, but you see all details are available here. PDF file will be attached with my title. So this is creator here. If you do it manually, then it will take much time. You see here, there are 3 authors for this paper: communication, communities of practice, poster collaboration across public health. Okay, so this is the abstract. This is journal title, volume number, issue number, page number, date. It was published, DOI number, ISSN number. All these details are extracted. Now I want to see this PDF file, read, or may add notes. It's very easy. Just double click on this PDF file. It will open a new tab, and here I can read this and add notes. You see, this is PDF file. Now I want to add some notes or annotations. So you can highlight. There are color palette. You can use various color. See, red. I want to use this red color. Again, if you want to use different colors, okay, this is how you can highlight. If I want to add some note, so this is, just select it or add notes, independent notes. This paper is very important for my research study. And there is no save button. Simply you just click out of this panel and it will be saved automatically. Okay, so this is how we can add notes, colors, highlights, and we can use for citation. Okay, I'm going to this is how you can enrich your library. You can add multiple papers, you can make many folders, and if you want to share, for example, few papers with your supervisor or colleagues, faculties, then you can create new folders here, group libraries, and share with your friends. Okay, now I'm going to tell you how to give in-text citation. So by default, when you install this software Jotaro in your desktop or any operating system, you'll get many important features, but 2 plugins are very important. Go to, you see here, main menu, file, edit, view, and tools. Under tools, you say install browser connector. So when you click here, you'll get the browser connector here. Okay, this is a browser connector. So previously I added papers which are available in my desktop or offline paper, which is already downloaded from publisher's website. Now I don't want to do that. I want to search some paper online, and from there only I want to send all these papers in my library Jotaro. So this is Google Scholar, one of the biggest database, bibliographic database, where you can search multiple papers, many papers on any topic. So I'm going to search, for example, Indian judiciary. Okay, you see, I got around 86,000 something, no, 8,69,000 papers in just fraction of second. Now assume these papers are very important for my research work. Okay, so there are many ways. If you do it, for example, from here Google Scholar, you simply click here on site. So you'll get by default 5-6 standard style manuals. If we have 5 standard style manuals: MLA, APA, Chicago, Harvard, and Vancouver. Okay, but what happens? It will not work properly. For example, here there is some missing information. This user page number is missing in this paper. Okay, but again, you can copy and paste in your text file. So I'm going to save few papers. So how to save this? You see, earlier it was paper icon for Jotaro. Now I have folder icon. Why? Because there are many papers on this single interface. Okay, so when you click here on this folder icon, you see which paper I have to select how many papers I want to send in my library. So I have to select, for example, Indian judicial system, judiciary delays in India. I'm going to send this 3 papers. Select, or you can select all or deselect all. There is an option for that. Now I have because slow internet speed, so I've selected very only 3 papers. Going to send, hit OK. You see it will be saved in my library. I got. And one more important thing you observe here, if you have a full text paper available in Google Scholar, so this PDF file is, for this first paper, PDF file is available. So whatever I selected, all these 3 papers have a full text PDF file, you see, and full text PDF file will be saved in your Jotaro library. If full text is not available, then you will only get metadata, only details, not PDF file. For example, for this second paper, there is no full text, no PDF file, no HTML file. So I'll get only details, not PDF file. Okay, I got these 3 papers in my Jotaro. Okay, I'm going to check it out. You see, I sent 3 papers in my library. Okay, so I got this. Now I added, so this there are 2 ways to enrich your library. First one is offline, second one is online. And if you want to send only one paper or anything, for example, if you want to give citation to videos, image, audios, okay, animations, so for that also Jotaro support. Simply click here, add in your library. It will be added in particular folder, or by default it will go into my library. Okay, this is by default libraries for all papers. But if you want to save in any individual folder, then you select and select. Again, you can sort out. For example, I want all my papers not in assignment 1, but other folder. Simply drag and drop. Okay, it is freezing. Just wait. Okay, so yeah. Okay, it's very slow. Okay, I'm coming to next topic. Just 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you see I got assignment 1. I'm going to create one more folder, assignment 2. Yeah, so I want one paper from assignment 1. Just drag and drop this paper into assignment 2. There are tons of features in Jotaro. I mentioned I only only few features, but there are so many features. Okay, you can check it out. Okay, now I'm coming to this. Yeah, I got it from assignment 1 to assignment 2. So I have added one more paper in assignment 2. This is how you can enrich your library. Just drag from any other folder and drop this particular individual folder. Okay, next is how to give in-text citation. As I mentioned, this is very much useful. So I have, for example, I have 100 papers. Now I'm going to start writing. So first you add title, any title. Okay, Indian judiciary. This one is also freezing here. Okay, this is my title. If you want to give in text citation, assume this is definition. Okay, I'm going to copy some text from PDF file. Okay, so this is from KBC Saxena. So I took this idea concept from no, this one. Yeah, TV. So I have to put into double inverted comma because I'm not going to paraphrase it. Okay, if you want to write in your language, then no need to put in double inverted comma. So good. Where to add in text citation? I'm going to add this in text. So you see, one more plugin is added here, and main menu, file, home, insert, and the last one is Jotaro, just before help. Okay, so this all icons will help us to give in text citation references. So first one is to find out. So I have one paper written by Saxena. So I need to search. You see, I got this Saxena towards excellence in e-governance. Both papers are same, actually in the two different folders. So click OK. I got, yeah. So I have given in text citation. Now I'm going to add in references. Okay. So first you give path where you want all citation and references. Okay, so all references I want to arrange here just below to this handy. Okay, so how to add references? You see, add edit bibliography, third icon. Click here, added. So this is as per APA standard style manual. If you want to change standard style manual, okay, let me add few more citation. So like that, I am going to add few more citation in text citation, just adding. Okay. Yeah. So how to add? Go to again this one APA 7th standard and search references. Now I have to find out Bhardwaj Kumar Robinson. Okay, so Bhardwaj. You see, for same idea, many citation can be given to many authors. If one text. Okay, so done, and then Robinson. Okay, I got 2 citation, and you see by default Jotaro added all these tutors. So there are 3 citation and 3 references. Okay, this is how we can give in-text citation. So first time we need to give exact location where I want my all in-text citation and all references. One more thing, if you want to change, for example, by default, this is as per APA, American Psychological Standard Style Manual, 7th edition. If I want to change to different style manual, so all standards are available here. Document preferences. So, for example, American Medical Association 11th edition. So I mentioned in the beginning, this is British Standard Style Manual. It's arranged into chronological order or numeric system. So you see, I selected this one. So for first definition, you see Saxena 1, because you see this is mentioned here 1, and for the second and third, this third now this is not in alphabetical order. This is in as per number system. but APE was in alphabetical order. It is very simple to use all these tools for arranging references and citations. Okay, so I'm going to show you some other features in Jotaro. For example, if you have many papers in your library, so all papers will appear here. You see, in my library, if you have a duplicate papers, same papers added so many times, you will find all these papers in duplicate items. So Jotaro, I have, you see, in a duplicate item, there are two papers per subsection. If you want to merge all these two items, yes, you can select and merge these two items. Community, practice and foster, there are two items you can merge in one item. So it works very well for duplicate items. Before giving in-text citation references in Word file, you always check all details, metadata, whether author, titles, year of publication, volume number, issue number, page numbers are correct or not. If not correct, you simply double click on any field and correct. For example, if there is some mistake here in author's first name or surname, for example, Bara. So I want to correct it, Barbara. No save icon, just click and add. This is how you can correct. For example, Journal of Knowledge Management. Okay, if you want to correct this title, simply correct it. For example, if there is by mistake volume number 18, 17, but it should be 19 or 20. So you correct it here. Okay, and DOI number is a unique ID for any paper. If you know DOI number, you don't have any other details, you can use this magic stick, magic wand to identify those papers. So I have this DOI number. I am going to add paper. So if you can add, there are many unique IDs for all papers. For example, unique ID for book, that is ISBN, DOI number for an object. For all medical documents, papers, they use PMID and archive ID, ADS, these all systems. So I have this DOI number, just enter, copy and paste, hit enter, and you see this paper will be retrieved. All details will be retrieved here in my library. See, I got this paper. Very easy, no need to search, no need to, import or do import. Okay, once done this part, you can save all these files, or if you have for example, you can export. Okay, you can export all these libraries in Jotaro RDF in different file format, and you can also import multiple papers, for example, all folders. So I imported only one research paper. You can import, for example, multiple papers, many 1000 2000 papers in one go. Okay, and one more thing, if you want to do it manually, so you see this support, Jotaro supports for all different types of papers, research work. For example, if you want to store information for artwork, audio recording, blog post, book sections, case conference paper, there are so many options available, video recording and all. Okay, this all can be added in Jotaro library, and you can use it for in-text citation and references. So these are all about Jotaro reference management. If you have any question, you have any doubt, you need clarification, please ask. So
Hello. If participant has any doubt, please put it in a chat box. Otherwise, raise your hand. I will unmute you. We'll wait for. So there are a couple of questions. Is the research work safe if you use such tools for citation like Zotero or anything else?
Yes, it's very much safe. Basically, you get some space, 300 MB space in Jotaro and 5 GB space in Mendeley. So what happens when you store all these papers? It is very much available for researcher only. No one can get any data, and they have also mentioned in their terms and conditions. So data will be not shared. Yes, there is a a thing with Mendeley where, for example, if I have uploaded few papers in Mendeley, so what happened? My metadata will be shared with all researchers across the globe, but not my full text paper. So this is how they manage, maintain privacy. Otherwise, very much safe. I have thousands of papers in my Mendeley, okay, from various sources. Even there is no strike, no notification from any publisher, because this is my research work, and I have downloaded from various platforms. So yes, there is a privacy. There is no, uh, uh, nothing to think about this security and all.
There is one more question, sir. Could you please give a brief idea about Mendeley?
Okay, so all as I mentioned, there are so many tools. There are so many applications for managing difference management tool. So what happened? Last year, before last year, Mendeley has enough features. Okay, so because maintained by commercial publisher Elsevier, so it was very popular. But recently, Jotaro launched with so many applications, so many plugins, and this is one of the best thing about this Jotaro is it's open source software. So if I know scripting programming language, I can create a library and upload on Jotaro. That is the reason it's become very popular. Okay, and it's a more feature than any other tools. Even it's more feature than Mendeley or Redcube. Okay, about interface, all tools or software interface almost similar. So I'll show you. I have this Mendeley also. Can you see my screen? Is it visible? No.
Yes, sir.
Can you see Mendeley homepage?
Yes,
screen?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So you see here also this interface is similar to. Just 1 second. Yeah, similar to Jotaro. Simply create folder, left panel. Okay, these are folder collections. How many collections I have created all these folders, and these groups I have created where my students share their research paper. This second panel where I can see my all research papers in full text PDF file or in Word file. These details you see here: publication title, source, added date, and file. Okay, if I want to add, this Mendeley for my text in-text citation references, same feature. Go to tools. By default, when you install this software, Mendeley also install two plugins: install Mendeley Web Importer and install Mendeley Site for Microsoft Word. So these two plugins are very much important and very much available with all software. Okay, so you see this is for Mendeley interface. Here in Word plugin, I get a independent main menu icon here in Jotaro. Okay, you can use it for in-text citation and references, but for Mendeley, I get this icon here under references. Okay, so references can I think you can see this icon. It's very much visible. So you click and you see I'll get a box here in MS Word. I can search references, all my stored paper. All papers are available here. Whatever, how I have more than 1,000 research papers. Okay, so all papers will be visible in your MS Word file. See, simply search. I want to give in text citation here by using Mendeley tool. Okay, so go to Mendeley, search for example this select paper, insert one citation. I just added one citation. Give proper location where you want to arrange all references. This is okay. My all references will be arranged just below to this heading. Okay, so first time you give path, then come to this standard style manual. So by default I have selected American Psychological Association 7th edition. Okay, so if you want to change this standard style manual, then there are many options. You see IEEE, Vancouver, American Sociological Association, Nature, American Medical Association. These are, there are more than, as I mentioned, more than thousands of standard style manual. Okay, so I selected. Now go to this last three dots, insert bibliography. First time you need to add this. You see, I got this references. Then you keep adding in-text citation, and all references will be added automatically at the end of your heading. Okay, so I'm going to show you few more citation. Just this paper one. Let me add some text. Hello world, I want to give in-text citation here for two authors. Okay, I am going to add this inter citation for two authors. You see, I added, given in-text citation for two authors, I got two more, references. So there are three in-text citation, three references, and all are in systematic manner. Okay, as per APA standard style manual. If I'll do it manually, it will take much time to consume my, whole day. Even for example, for APA standard style manual only, I have to take care of all this dot, comma, colon, okay, italic. So all journal titles should be in italic. You see, all journal title should be in italic. Here, this one. Even value number should be also in italic, but not issue number. Issue number, you see, no italic. Okay, page number. So as per APA standard style manual, you don't mention page PP. Okay, but in other style manual, we have to mention here PP dot. So we have to very careful. Okay, DOI number. So earlier, is 6th edition in APA standard style manual. Whenever we get some paper or idea from online sources, websites, we must answer here that this paper is retrieved from. You also mention date, which date and year you retrieve, because websites are dynamic pages. Today you see, tomorrow doesn't will not exist. Okay, so that is was the reason we were using date access. Okay, access date or retrieve date. Now we don't need to use if you have DOI number. So for this DOI number, because this is unique ID, even if website address changes, then also this will remain the same. Okay, so same feature, but Jotaro has much more feature, tons of features. Okay, more than Mendeley. Okay, any other question?
I don't think there is a question. Thank you, sir. I request Assistant Professor Saisha Gusarkar to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of everyone who attended today's session on the use of reference management tool, I, Assistant Professor Saisha Gusarkar of HVPS College of Law, would like to express our sincere gratitude for sharing your valuable insights and expertise with us. Your presentation was insightful and engaging, and we appreciate the time and efforts you put into preparing for this lecture. Thank you for providing us with overview of reference management tool with proper demonstration, which will surely helpful to the participants. We are grateful for the resource and recommendations you shared, which will undoubtedly find useful as we move forward. Once again, thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience with us. We look forward to future opportunities to learn from you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. So I would like to express my sincere gratitude to convener, co-coordinator, event coordinator for inviting me to speak at the National Research Methodology Workshop. It is an honor to be part of such event and to have the opportunity to share my knowledge and expertise with you all. Once again, thank you so much for considering for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir.
After this session, we are proceeding towards our next session, that is data visualization. We have a guest speaker with us, Mr. Aditya Variat from National Law University, Mumbai. I request Assistant Professor Sonal Jain ma'am to introduce our guest speaker for the second session.
Good morning, everyone. Aditya Variat sir is an assistant professor of law and coordinator of Center for Research in Air and Space Law at Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai, India. Sir is also a research fellow at Information Society Law Center, University of Milan, Italy. Sir is also a research fellow at the Information Society Law Center, University of Milan, Italy. Sir has previously served as a research assistant to the Government of India Ministry of Commerce and Industry Department for the promotion of industry and internal trade. Sir has been chairperson for IPR MNLU Mumbai. As a researcher, Sir's focus was on international law, R2P, 12, and AI. Sir was research group member at the Center for AI and Digital Policy USA. He writes frequently on issues of international law for geopolitics, modern diplomacy, Times of Israel, etc. Sir's recent work is co-authored book An Introduction to International Law, published by Thomson Reuters. He has presented papers at conferences and workshops hosted by the University of Cambridge, King's College London, University of Pretoria, and Graduate Institute Geneva, amongst others. We are honored to have you with us here, sir, today to share your insights and expertise on the topic of data visualization. Please join me in welcoming Aditya Variat, sir. Over to you, sir.
Sir is joining us in 2 minutes. He had some network issues. We'll wait for 2 minutes. Sir, you can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yes. I'm audible now.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes. I'm audible properly. Can you see my video?
There's some lagging, sir, but yeah, it's fine. Your network bandwidth is low, I think.
I'm not able to hear you.
Yes,
perfect.
we can hear you. Yeah.
Audible. Okay. Yes, yes.
Hello, sir, we can't hear you. This point. Hello, hello, Aditya, sir.
Sir, I'm just changing my network. Just give me a minute.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Hello, everyone. We'll wait for 2 minutes. Sir will join us.
Hello, hello. I'm audible now?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. You're
Yes,
audible.
yes. I'm so sorry. There was some network issue from my
No
side.
issues.
Yes, yes. I just want to share my screen also. Yes. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, sir. It is.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. I'll begin with expressing my gratitude to the organizers for inviting me. So I am here to talk about data visualization. Okay. So if you look into this topic, this is actually a very technical topic. I'll actually try to break this down and also figure out how this whole system functions. So if you look at this aspect of doing research, you will see that research data visualization comes at a very later stage. Once you have collected data and now you are in the stage of processing data and you are trying to come out with an outcome that you are trying to talk about. And this is where visualization comes in. So the very premise of data visualization actually begins with this idea that you are actually trying to tell a story, and you are using data as a mechanism or as a tool to tell the story that you're talking about. Okay, so this is where you will see that data visualization is always read with or discussed with this idea of storytelling, wherein you think that you are using some data and you are trying to frame this data in with this perspective of telling a story about something that you're working upon. Okay, so if you look into this whole scenario of data visualization, you also have to finally understand that doing research in law is not actually doing research just in law. Okay, because whenever we talk about this idea of law, you also have to take into account the very fact that law in itself is a very impure subject. Okay, so since law is a very impure subject, uh,
Hello, sir, you are.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, yes. So if you, as I was talking about this impurity of the subject, so you will see that whenever we deal with law, you also have to understand that law, because of its impurity, is actually read with a lot of other subjects. Okay, so this is where the whole idea of data and using data or using visual analytics of data comes into picture. Okay, because you are actually doing an interdisciplinary research and you want to actually portray what exactly your findings are, and you're using some other tools to actually tell a very interesting story. Okay, so whenever you talk about data visualization, you also have to understand that data visualization is a subset of visualization. Okay, so you are actually using the whole element of visualization to actually understand its operational facets. Okay, so this is where we actually break down this whole scenario of research and tell that research, because it is a systematic process, you are actually systemizing the research by using data. Okay, and before we understand what exactly is visualization using the form of data, you also have to understand what is the whole element of or the purpose of using visualization at the first place. Okay. So this is where you see that whenever we talk about data, data becomes a very technical aspect. On the other hand, if you see, doing research is not at all times be a very technical aspect, because you see that whenever we all of us are doing this workshop on research, but how many of us have actually learned research by attending conferences? Okay, so I think we're doing it multiple times, learning from the mistakes, or maybe developing our own form of methodologies to do something. Okay, so this is where the educational aspect of research methodology fails to a great extent, because no amount of course or no amount of structure will not teach you research unless you actually do it. Okay, so the idea of using visualization begins from this very basic component that we actually learn research in a self-taught way. This is something that you develop by yourself, and you actually try to control the process of doing research. Okay. Now, many times what happens when we use visualization as a form of research is that we tend to be too journalistic. Okay, we tend to have opinions, we tend to write opinions in a very opinionated way. We are actually influenced by a lot of externalities. But the problem is that research is not journalism, and research has to be systematic. Research has to be controlled. And when we are using data, research also has to be empirical in its true sense. Because unless you are doing an empirical research, we won't come out with enough data to actually bring in the story from this whole data. Now, whenever we talk about data visualization, one of the very important elements is to understand that there has to be some element of critical investigation involved in research. Okay, and this is where, if you see, maybe the curriculum in law schools fail. Okay, you actually don't teach research, or you actually don't teach data, use of data, or processing of data, or collection done from the academic perspective.
Hello, sir. Your voice is breaking actually.
On teaching students to do
Hello, sir.
research. Okay,
Sorry
so
to
this is where we actually if
sorry to intervene. Your
yes,
voice
am I
is
audible now?
breaking actually. Yeah, you're audible. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Please carry on. Thank you. Hello, sir. You can carry on.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Your
Am I
voice is
audible? Am I
audible.
audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. So, okay, you can just leave me a message whenever the voice breaks. I think there is some problem with the internet at the university today.
Sure, sir. I will message you.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. So, here we talk about this idea that not many law schools actually invest a lot of resources in teaching the undergraduate students or postgraduate students on how to use data. So, if you see the way our curriculum is framed, we actually teach research methodology for our postgraduate students. Okay. But the thing is that if you see the number of research that comes out in journals, there are a lot of student researchers who write. It means that the researchers who are doing research in their undergraduate courses are actually doing research in a way that they have self-learned. Okay. So this is where the whole idea of systematic analysis of doing research fails to a great extent in India. Okay. So this is where the whole idea of doing research or being critical comes into play. Now, whenever you talk about research, you actually have to understand that the most important element whenever we talk about data-driven research is this idea is to understand where do you stand as a researcher. Okay. So if you see that we live in a very conformist society. Okay, we live in a society that is actually content driven, and since we live in an ecosystem that promotes conformism, you actually don't see a lot of, lot of critical analysis that comes in. Okay, this, I think, since majority of you are teaching in some law schools, you will understand that many times when we talk to students, whenever we talk about issues, many of the students tend to be conformist because they accept everything what we say, because we stand in a position where we are in a position to enforce and explain things according to the classical idea that we have. Okay, so when students are taught in this way, students are maybe grown or nurtured in this way, you actually see that the output of this type of pedagogy is that we actually tend to create a set of conformist thinkers believing in whatever the book says, or believing in whatever maybe some scholar has said, believing in something maybe some member of Constituent Assembly debate has said. Okay. Now, whenever there is conformism, you will not see data-driven researches. Okay. So if you actually have to understand how data and data visualization happens, you actually have to change the methodology of teaching. You actually have to explore the alternative paradigms that are there. Okay. And this is where critical thinking plays a very important role. And this is where, if you see, teaching pedagogy has to include something called as conformism. It has to include something called as critical legal studies. It has to include something called as post-coloniality. Okay, because unless you are able to establish critical thinking values to our students, you won't actually create critical thinkers. And unless you create critical thinkers, you will not see these critical thinkers doing a data-driven research, because actually you need data to actually break a conformist idea, or you will need data to actually break something that the society might have created, or a value that the society has nurtured into. Okay, but you will see that this whole idea of visualization and using data to tell a story, it's very important that whenever you are doing this, you actually have to set in a context into this. Okay, so let us take an example of how this will function. Okay, so I am playing. I'm actually showing you an image, and if I can get some responses, what do you see in this image? If
Participants, please write in a chat box.
if you could understand, or if you can decipher what is happening. For example, I'll tell an example that I can see somebody showing maybe a sign of Christianity. Anything else? Oh, somebody has said worshipping a god. Okay, so you can see a set of people actually worshipping something, and that something could be a Christian cross. Okay, they are praying together. Okay, anything else? What can you decipher from this image? Anything else? Any other response? For example, you can see they are trying to unfurl a flag. Okay. Okay. So if you can see, there are also images of two set of people. You can see a set of whites. People are being saved and brought to shore. Okay. Okay. You can also, if you can see, you can also see that there is a stark inequality between a set of people who are bowing down and a set of people who have maybe a cross and a flag, well dressed. They have a sword. Christians, fantastic, fantastic. So if you see, this picture is actually about how Christianity arrived in an indigenous place. Okay. Now you will see that this is actually an image, an image that portrays multiple meanings. Okay. So if you see, you will see that Christianity. One example of this could be Christianity being preached to the indigenous people. One example could be how the whites are actually saying something to the blacks, and the indigenous people are worshipping the Christians. Or it could be how a set of people are actually capturing a land. Okay, so this image is actually an image of how Columbus came to the Indies. Okay, and if you see, this is one of the most powerful images in the in legal history, wherein you see how this image actually shows a lot of stories, or actually portrays a lot of stories, wherein you see how a set of powerful people are coming to a land, and they are actually taking control over the land under the guise of Christianity and having power. Okay. Now, if you see this image that we see here, whenever we look at this image from the point of view of visualization, this image actually shows the strength of pictures. This image actually shows or actually tells a lot of stories. Okay? And this is where visualization can play the role of storytelling. Okay, because if you see the traditional way of storytelling, you actually rely a lot on maybe on pictures, on videos, on movies that can tell maybe powerful stories. Okay, so if you look into this image can be used to tell a story of colonialism. This can be used to tell a story about how Christianity was preached. Okay, so if you see, this is one form of visualization wherein you are using a picture to tell a story. Okay, simultaneously, you can also see that the same story can be told from this image. Okay, so if you see, this is actually a diagram where you will see that how many European colonies were under the control of the European powers. So if you see that this is a diagram where you see that the UK had around 115 colonies. There is Belgium; it had around 29 colonies, and out of that, many of them were common colonies. You had Germany, who had similar colonies with Belgium. So if you see, both these stories tell a common idea of colonialism. Both these images tell a common idea of colonialism, but there is something fundamentally different with both these images. Okay? First image, if you see, is actually a picture. Okay, wherein you actually have to decipher what is there in the picture. So if you see the responses too, you will see that there are multiple responses wherein multiple people have interpreted the same picture in a different way. On the other hand, if I show you the second image, you will actually come to a conclusion about what exactly is this circles talking about, is this diagram talking about. Okay. What is different in both these pictures is that despite they telling the same story, the way of both these diagrams expressing the story is different. Okay, and this is where the element of data comes into picture. If you see the second diagram, you actually have clear data showing that this country had this many number of colonies, this country had this many number of regions, and these were the set of countries involved. Okay, and if you look into this picture, you are able to identify what is the exact scenario. On the other hand, if you look at the first picture, you will actually be confused to understand what exactly is this picture talking about. Okay, and this is a problem with visualization. If you are actually using something and if you are not able to decode it, okay, then there is a disconnect between you and the person with whom you are trying to communicate. Okay, so this is where, as a researcher who is trying to get involved into data visualization, he needs to first understand that who is your audience. So if I'm showing the first image that I just showed to people who are actually students of maybe world history, or actually students of maybe colonial history, they will be able to identify it quickly because they have some connection with this image. They might have some background with this image. Okay, as opposed to people who are not aware about this history of colonial history. Okay, so you actually have to understand that to whom are you visualizing things. Okay, to whom are you actually contextualizing the content that you have. Okay, and this plays a very important role in setting the discourse of your research. This actually plays a very important role in understanding that who is this audience that you are trying to talk to. Okay, so to identify the audience plays a very important role for you to actually tell a story using visualization tools. Okay, and since this becomes problematic, since you are not able to understand the basics of visuals, here comes the role of data to actually tone down the visuals. Okay, so if you see that any kind of data that we talk of can be told from the form of a picture. Okay, but the problem is that not everybody will understand the picture unless you are able to decode the picture. And data helps you in this process of decoding the very idea that I'm talking about. Okay. So if you see, there are three important elements of data visualization. And the first element is the setup that you create. Okay. And this setup is actually building the context. Okay. So when you write a research paper and when you are trying to use maybe data visualization techniques, it's very important that you actually identify or you set a context regarding what kind of context that you are setting for your researchers. Okay, because unless I tell you the impacts of colonialism or how colonialism happened, you won't able to relate with this picture, nor with the maybe nor with the data that I'll show you in terms of the diagram. Okay, so the first important element of data visualization is to set up the context and to create a situation. Okay, so this is where you actually write or think as a researcher, that are you trying to problematize an issue? Okay, and unless you are trying to problematize an issue, you won't be able to actually provide a context to this problem that you are trying to address. Okay. So this is where you actually have to set up a problem in a way that it can be problematic, it can be problematized. Okay, and the second element or the second step in data visualization is the element of conflict. Okay, so first is that you are trying to set up a situation, trying to build a context, and second is that you actually expose a conflict. Okay, so to understand this better, I will show you an image of the global real house problem index. Okay, so this is actually the problem that we are trying to address. So if you can see, this actually shows the value of houses. Okay, this is a chart that shows how the prices of housing has increased or decreased in multiple states. So you have Australia, you have Canada, you have a set of countries wherein this problem that we are trying to talk about, or the story that we are trying to talk about, is actually described in a pictorial way. Okay, so now you can see this graph wherein there are multiple lines in multiple colors, wherein they are actually showing the story of rise in housing or maybe story of a lower rate in housing. Okay. Now, as a researcher, we actually have to understand that what is there in this whole image that I can problematize and I can actually identify to do my research. Okay, so this is a data that has come by the United States Reserve Bank of Dallas, wherein they have done a comparative study of around 5 to 8 countries like New Zealand, US, Japan, Ireland, UK, Canada, and they have tried to bring in some data regarding the fluctuations in price. Okay, now let us contextualize this diagram to the steps that I talked about. Okay, the first step in doing a data visualization is to actually have a setup. Okay, and you look into this picture and see what is the setup here. Okay, what is the setup here? The setup here is that the main research talks about this problem, the global real house price index. Okay, and you will see that the setup here is about the changes in the value of price. Okay. Now, changing value of price is a fact. Okay, I'm not able to yet problematize in this picture, but you can see there is something that can be problematized. Okay, and that's something that can be problematized here is the value of housing of Japan. Okay, if you're able to understand this picture, then you will be able to understand what I'm trying to say. That you are actually trying to set up a context. Okay, you are actually trying to set up a situation, and that situation that I find problematic in this whole graph is this: that why is it that when all states were seeing a low growth rate in the house rent or value of house, why is Japan seeing a sudden peak? Okay, so if you are able to identify that all the house rates are coming down and Japan is seeing a peak, okay, Japan has seen a peak, and I feel that as a researcher, I feel that this is something that adds a critical value to the research. Okay, so after seeing this data, I am able to identify that there is something wrong with Japan. Okay, and that something wrong with Japan is the situation that I'm trying to create. What is so wrong with Japan that I need to contextualize my research in identifying why? Okay, so this is where the curiosity comes in, that you are able to identify a changing pattern in the data and you are seeing that and the element of curiosity is coming out. That why is there a peak? Okay, why is there that when globally the price was coming down, why is it that only one state was seeing a peak? Okay, but you also see in 1989 to 1990s, there is a sudden fall in the price. Okay, there is a sudden fall in the price till 2005. Okay, and after 2005, the value of house in Japan has fallen. On the other hand, value of houses in all other countries have saw a steep rise. Okay. Now you will see that this is the first context of the story, and this is the second context of the story. When all pricing of housing was coming down, the house value of Japan was seeing a sudden rise. Okay, there was something that happened in 2005 due to which the value of housing in Japan has fallen down and the value of pricing in all other states have increased. Okay. Now you see, I have three interesting elements to talk about in this whole picture. Okay. One, why was there a rise in the 1970s when world was seeing a fall? What happened in 2005 that all the pricing rates of other states saw a steep rise? And what happened in 2005 that the value of house in Japan came down as opposed to the global trend? Okay. So in this picture, I'm able to identify 2-3 interesting facts. Okay. And once I am able to identify these 2-3 interesting facts, now I am trying to contextualize this whole scenario by problematizing it. Okay. One of the very interesting problems that I see is something that happened in 2005. Okay. Now this is where the curiosity of a researcher increases. Okay, you as a researcher, you are trying to actually understand something that happened in 2005. So that can be the point of conflict. Okay, and once you are able to identify the point of conflict, you actually create an alternative reality. Okay, so there is a situation that is the reality, and the conflict that you have identified, that is the point where the reality has changed. Okay, and after that, the reality has changed. You are able to, you are trying to change the reality. And this idea of changing the reality or framing an alternative reality can also be your hypothesis. Okay, because you will be testing the alternative reality that you're trying to create. Okay, so this is where the other elements of research methodology talks to data visualization. That are you able to frame a proper hypothesis? Okay, and unless you are able to frame a proper hypothesis, you won't be able to change the reality that you want to talk about. Okay. Now, what happened in 2005? Okay. So one of the hypotheses that I could come out with is that maybe there was something happening with the changing price, and the changing in price was a result of maybe changes that were happening in the global recession models. Okay. So you will see that the changing price could be something that varied, and the correlative variable that changed along with it could be maybe the changes that the global recession was happening, the changes in economy because of global recession. Okay. Now, this reality is something that I created. Okay. This reality is something that I am trying to change. Okay. So if you are able to actually frame a good hypothesis, taking into account these two variables, maybe the lowering price in Japan and the direct relation it had with the global recession model that went up. Okay. Then I am able to create an alternative situation. Okay. And this is what in data visualization we called as resolution. Okay. So there is a conflict, and the point where you have identified the conflict, that is 2005 here, is the real conflict that I'm trying to address. And the hypothesis that I'm trying to frame could be the resolution that I'm trying to come out with. Okay. And data actually helps in understanding whether the alternative reality that I have imagined is the real value or not. And if the data supports the alternative reality that I created, then I can say that my hypothesis has been successful. And if the data that I'm trying to bring in has not favored this link between the lower rate of growth in Japan to recession, it means my hypothesis has failed. Okay. So you can see that data can be used as a tool to test the hypothesis that you are trying to frame. Okay. And in this case, if you see the rise in prices in value of houses in Japan was because of the global recession that happened and the impact that Japanese industries had because of the global recession. Okay, and if I'm able to bring in data that talks about the lowering rate of value of housing in Japan and the higher rate of recession in the global north, then I can say that I am using data to actually come to a conclusion, and this conclusion could be that my alternative reality has been successful so far, or my alternative reality has failed. Okay, so this is where data actually plays a role. Okay, now the problem with data visualization is that you actually have to set a scene. Okay, because unless when you're writing a research, if you don't introduce the problem of Japanese industries with recession, this data will have no real value. This data will have actually no real impact unless you are able to set a context. Okay, so setting the scene becomes very important at the first place. Second, writing a good hypothesis becomes very important if you want to do data visualization, because unless you write a good hypothesis, you won't be able to justify the data that you're trying to bring in. Okay, and the third element is that how well you are able to experiment with the data. Okay, if you see that information is very beautiful, okay, but designing the information becomes a tedious task. Okay, and the information that you design to tell a story is nothing but data visualization. Okay, so this is where in this whole age of insight, you actually have to understand that data is a very flexible tool. Okay, data is so flexible that as a researcher, you can manipulate this tool here and there. Now, it depends on the ethics of researcher. It depends on how exactly you are planning to go ahead with the data, that you design the way that you want to frame your data. Okay, since data is so flexible, you can take the data to places where you want to achieve the result. Okay, but sometimes you see that whenever you don't actually follow a systemic process, sometimes you don't follow an ethical process, sometimes you are not using the accurate formulas, or sometimes you are not maybe coming out with proper examples or proper correlatives or proper comparative studies, you actually don't come to a good conclusion. Okay, and these are the cases wherein, despite data telling a story, the reality could be something very different. Okay? For example, this could be maybe how the Indian government, after maybe imposing demonetization, came out with its data saying that now the economy will see rampant growth. There will be maybe advancement in Q3 in the third quarter of economy, or it could be data that shows that after demonetization, India is moving towards maybe a $3 trillion economy. Okay. Now, if you see, that was also a data that was put in front of us, showing that because of this setup, this event, that is in 2020 when we had the demonetization, there will be a steep rise. Something's very similar to this data. Okay, there was a growth in economy. If I just change the context of this using the same image for the demonetization thing, okay, there was a growth in economy, but this growth in economy was because of corruption, maybe because of parallel economy, and something happened here. Okay, and that something happening here could be demonetization, and the state is saying that, oh, there will be a fall in economy now, but there could be a steep rise, provided we are doing some activities here and there. Okay. Now, what we want to understand here is that this pictorial depiction by the state, saying that something happening here, fall and a rise, can be manipulated. Okay, and it has been manipulated multiple places at multiple times by multiple actors. Now, the thing is that these kind of examples show you that how data can be manipulated. Okay, because data can, using the same data, different kind of stories can be told. Okay, and if you actually want to read about how data can be manipulated, this is a very interesting book. It's a book by Professor Cole on storytelling with data. Okay, so it's a 3-series book. Okay, if you're able to do a proper search online, you will get the soft copies also. So you will see that these are actually 3 important books talking about storytelling with data, let's practice, and storytelling with you. Okay, these 3 books talk about how data is manipulated by some researchers, some state government, some NGOs, to put out a whole different picture out. Okay. So if you see, this is where we actually have to understand the ethical background behind controlling data. Okay. Now, there have been instances wherein data was actually misrepresented, or the study was not proper, and the data that came out with uh, was not up to the point, and it did not have a real time impact. Okay. And one such study that we can contextualize it to could be this. Okay. So I'll be sharing my screen to actually show you a very interesting research that was actually carried out by the government of India. So okay. So is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes. It is
Okay.
visible.
Okay. So if you can see, this is actually a study done by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Okay. Is this report visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So this is actually a study done by the Ministry of Women and Child Development, and the study is named as Study on Child Abuse. Okay. So this is the government of India study that was undertaken to see the problem of child abuse in India in 2007. Okay. So if you can see, this is a full-fledged report, a 2,200-page report, an extensive study conducted by the state, and look at the major findings of this research. Okay. So if you can see, there is a question of sexual abuse. Okay. And very interesting actually to read the report. And this report has come to a conclusion that I have just highlighted this line. 53.22% children in India reported having faced one or more form of sexual abuse. Okay. So this is the 2007 report done by a study conducted by the government of India, coming out with the conclusion that 53.22% children in India have faced one or more forms of sexual abuse. 53% means 1 out of every 2. Okay, half of India's children were victims of sexual abuse. So this is the study that was done, and this is the report that has come out with. Okay. Now, if you read the report, you can actually see that they have actually used a lot of data to actually talk about this. Okay. So you will see multiple data that have been mentioned. There is a NCRB data that is there showing about incidents of crimes against children. There are other reports. If you can see indicators of child abuse, again, a use of a different set of data, wherein a graphical method was developed to actually differentiate between the types of abuses. There is another pictorial data of states wherein maximum number of children were facing some form of abuse. There is a different data collection wherein there is a simple target and a sample collected from the children. Now, what I want all of you to understand is that this is a report by the state, the government of India, saying that 50% of India's children, they were a victim of sexual abuse. Okay. Now, India is a country with around maybe 130 crore plus people. And let us say that 30 crore people in India are maybe children belonging to the age of 16. Okay. Now, okay, 140 crore plus as of today. Now think about this scenario. Okay. We are a country with 140 crore people, wherein you will see that maybe 30 to 40 crore people would be below the age of 16. What could be the perfect sample to come to a conclusion that 50% of India's children are subject to sexual abuse? What do you think? What could be the perfect sample? Or what could be if not the perfect sample, what could be a good sample to come to a conclusion that 50% of India's children were subject to one or other forms of sexual abuse? Any idea? Any random figure. What do you think? What could be a good sample to come to a conclusion that 50% of India's children were subject to sexual abuse? Thirty crore. 30 crore. If you want to do a study on 30 crore people, what could be? So, if you see that this report, when it was put out, you will see that this study was a result of maybe 18,000 students. Okay, 18,000 children were studied in this report. 12 crore. Okay. Ideally, it should be in some ratio that we can come to a proper conclusion. Now, this report, talking about maybe 30 crore people, 30 crore children, was a study that was conducted on 18,000 students. Okay. So the report actually studied 18,000 students, and the deduction of this report was that 50% of India faces children have faced some or the other form of sexual abuse. Okay. Now we will see this is a bad example of how data is being put out. Okay, wherein you can see that data has been used as a tool for visualization to actually maybe explain the type of crimes, but the number of students that are studied were too less. Okay, were too less. 18,000 students is not a good sample size to come to conclusion that 50% of India suffered from sexual abuse. Now the thing is that these are examples wherein data, maybe because of lesser sample, can portray a whole different other story. Okay. Now this is where our responsibility as researchers come in. Okay. That whenever you are using tools of data visualization, when you are using graphs, or when you are using maybe any other forms of tools of visualization, are we actually coming, or are we actually using appropriate mechanism to actually tell these stories, or are we actually using proper number of sample to generate an idea, or to illustrate an idea, or to discover a problem? Okay, so unless you are able to do a proper mining of data, unless you don't know what kind of model that you want to put out, the whole element of data visualization fails. And data visualization is not just maybe tables. Okay, it could be data visualization by pie charts. It could be data visualization by area charts. It could be data visualization by histograms or scatter plots or heat maps or tree maps. But the thing is that these kind of mechanisms that we're talking about, these are actually very easy to create. Okay, because with the rise of tools of creating data, you actually don't see that creating maybe a heat map or a tree map is a difficult task. It's very easy to do if you have certain set of data. You just have to put the data online, and the data becomes automatically created. Okay. Now we are also witnessing a trend wherein researchers are employing AI-driven tools to actually generate data. So if you see, if you can simply have the data that you want, and if you put it even in platforms like ChatGPT or Bard, the algorithm actually creates a pie chart or a tree chart for you on the basis of the data that you have. Okay, so you will see that creating these visual imageries or creating these visual forms is not actually a very difficult task because of these tools. But what remains a crucial task in this is to have the appropriate data. Okay, is to have the adequate number of digits or figures that are in place. Okay. Now, if you see, if you read more about it, there are a lot of softwares that are used to do it. Okay, so I'll share my screen one more time, and okay, so if you see that these are some of the tools that can be used. Okay, so this is Apache eCharts. This is actually an online software that creates data for you. Okay, so if you can go to the website whenever you are free, you can see that you can use this website to create maybe a pie chart or a histogram or a tree map for you. So if you can click here, then it will actually show you how to include how to use eCharts. There is an option of a demo that is available. So if you can go to the website, you will actually see that you get a free demo for all of these. Of area pieces, of filters, of a lot of things, if you can see, of scatter charts. Now it depends. So if you see that coming out with this data is very, very easy, because you just have to add the digits here and it will automatically translate into a picture. But as I said, the problem is to have the adequate numbers to tell a proper story. Okay, so you have Apache as a software, you have Deck is one of the softwares that we have. Okay, so if you see, Deck is also a software that offers you some free models to actually run. So you can actually install Deck in your PCs, and Deck can be used as one of the software to actually show these complex images. So if you can see, there is explorers, there are problems regarding maybe how COVID spreads in multiple areas. So this is something that Deck created, wherein you actually put in the data and you put in the map of that region, and it actually shows where the people are, where the hotspots are, etc., etc. So if you see, if you have used Arogya Setu as an app during the COVID, that was an excellent software that talked about data visualization, that it had hotspot, it had numbers, it had digits. But what was very important for the success of Arogya Setu was appropriate data. Okay, so this is an example of how pictorial data is actually used to show the real problems. Okay, so apart from this, you also see that there is a whole different another software that is called as Visualization Grammar. Okay, so this is also a software that gives you some free trials, wherein you can maybe create an account here and have the appropriate data and change the data to multiple places according to the needs and demands that you have. Okay, and if you look into the functioning of government, if you can go to the websites of Election Commission of India, or you can go to the website of Ministry of Health, they use a lot of data analytics. Okay, but if you see, the very purpose of doing data analytics actually requires you to actually have a control over data, okay, and data science. And many times lawyers are not equipped enough to actually use the models of data analytics, because it's actually a very technical process. Okay. Now, so you also have softwares that have actually helped us or helped lawyers to actually break down data. Okay. Now, if you can search about this website, so this website is actually called as Statista. Okay. Now, Statista is actually a website wherein you get ready-made data. Okay. For example, I am somebody who works in the field of aviation law. Okay, and actually I'm trying to find out the flow of passengers over the past few years. So what I can simply do is that I can just go there, do a search on airport traffic, and Statista already has a lot of data that can be used by me. Okay. Now, if you see, this is a data that is talking about number of operational airports in India by type. So I just have to click on it, and if you see, I get a set of data that is already available with me. So the problem with Statista is only that you should have an institutional subscription given by the university or the academic institute, so that you can actually download this data. Okay. So if you can use this software properly, or if you're able to crack this software properly, you can see that this software actually gives you with ready-made information that you can use to tell a story. Now, the thing is that if you search for outer space, or search for maybe health, or it could be a data on constitutional democracies in different parts, you already see that data and stats are already there. You just have to contextualize your research on the basis of what you are trying to talk about. So this is why setting a context becomes very important. Okay. Now, I'm again stressing on this idea that there are also paid softwares. For example, SPSS is one of the softwares that you have to purchase. And For example, SBS Statistics is one of the softwares. So you can actually go to the website of IBM, and IBM has the software called as SPSS, and there is this option of trying it for free. Okay, so you just have to put in your email, and it automatically gets downloaded to your PC, and you can actually feed data, and SPSS automatically creates data for you. Okay, so there are also videos showing free trials for how to use this whole data. Okay, now if you look into topics like data visualization, there was this phase in 2000s wherein there were lectures on how to use data, how to convert data into graphs. Okay, and at that time, people used to rely a lot on Excel. Okay, to convert the data into maybe into graphs or into tables or into diagrams. But the thing is that with the rise of other softwares, the the amount of time that we spend on creation of diagrams have come down drastically. It just requires you to click once to convert a table into a pie chart. It takes you only one click to convert a pie chart into maybe histogram. It takes you only one click to convert histogram into a tree map. Okay, since the process of converting data into visual formats have become difficult, have become easy. What has become difficult is the process of collecting appropriate data. Okay, so this is a challenge that researchers today are facing with, that you know how to make visuals, but you don't know how to collect data. Okay, and this is where adequate training is required to actually study the tools of data collection. Okay, so data visualization is not something that requires a lot of time to actually understand, but what requires time is to understand how data needs to be collected. Okay, and but the problem is that in today's research, that the ethical paradigm of research has come down to a great extent. Okay, since we know that research are sponsored by maybe third-party organizations, research could be sponsored by pharmaceutical companies, research could be sponsored by maybe even the state, and in these instances, the data that you are using to convert into a visual paradigm can itself be flawed. Okay, and this is where the responsibility of researchers like us comes in. That whenever you are converting a data into a visual format, are you following the ethics of research? Are we abiding by the principles of neutrality? Are we coming out with unbiased opinions, or are we biased because of our tendency to tilt in terms of political values, in terms of religious values, in terms of maybe third party monetary interest? Okay, and whenever these biasness creeps into our research, you see that researchers often tend to manipulate data to totally go out a different visual format. For example, I began this lecture by showing you an image of Columbus coming to the Indies. Okay? The same image can be interpreted by me to show a story of colonialism and how oppression happened. But the same image can be used by Europeans to tell a story about how unprivileged and how uncivilized these people were. And we were preaching them the values of maybe Christianity so that they can be developed. Okay? So it depends a lot on the perspective of using data. It depends a lot on what kind of context that you are trying to set in. Okay, and this is where the inherent responsibilities of data visualization comes in. Okay, and I think the whole fuss about making visuals has been boiled down with the rise of technology, because technology has actually eased the process. Okay, but the problem is that with the rise of technology, it has also downgraded the ethical paradigm of how researchers function. Okay, so with this, I think I'll wind up, and I'll use the remaining time for any questions if there are any. Yes, so I'm passing over to the yes.
If anyone has any doubt, please put it in the chat box.
Okay, in that case, I'll wind up the session.
Sir, we'll wait for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Sir, there is one question. What do you think about softwares like Prezi for data visualization?
So actually, it depends on the choice of research you want to use. Now, the thing, as I mentioned, there are a lot of things that has streamlined over the past. The last 1 year during the phase of COVID was a phase wherein you actually witnessed a maximum form of development in terms of how softwares were developed for data management. So if you see, one of the software that I use for my day-to-day research is something called as the MindNote. Okay. So this is also a software that you can use to actually frame your research in a proper way and use the same software to actually mold your research. So if you can see, you can download MindNote for free online, and you can actually change or make your prepare maybe a pie chart or a MindNote using this. And there could be additions, there could be subtractions. You can break the topic more. Now the thing is that with so many business coming out, so many softwares coming out, you can actually maybe pick the best one on the basis of in terms of accessibility. So if you see that softwares like SPSS are very expensive. Okay, on the other hand, there are also free softwares available. For example, I showed you around 2-3 free softwares during my research. So you can actually use a lot of free softwares that are available. So what I can do is that I'll share the slides that I used, and I also link the free softwares that are available along with some maybe YouTube videos that shows how to work on the software. I think that would be more helpful for the participants who have issues in terms of understanding how to use the software.
Thank you, sir. There is one more question in chat box. What shall be the best mode to learn about the softwares of data visualization if I'm trying to self-learn them?
Self-learn. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Ritu ma'am, I think even you will agree that research is something that we have learned by ourselves since it's something that we did, and I don't know how many of us actually frame a hypothesis and then write a research paper. Okay, so it is something that we actually develop naturally by doing learning, unlearning. So the thing is that if you actually want to see how data visualization functions, you can actually go to YouTube, maybe search for specific apps. So if you go to YouTube, so I'll just share my screen one more time. So if you can go to YouTube and just search for maybe example SPSS. Okay, SPSS. So you will see that SPSS has its own videos there, okay, talking about how SPSS is to be used, how they are to be developed. So the thing is that what I would suggest is that first time, if you are trying to see how it functions, pick a good software fund that you want to learn, and then invest a lot of time in understanding how the software functions using the videos that are uploaded by the software's main website. Okay, so that is the best way to actually control the using of data tools. Okay, so I would suggest is that like the way we learn research by ourselves, you also have to learn using data visualization software ourselves. The best way is that you can go to YouTube and find videos and read about it. Okay, so this is something that I would advocate.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Now I request Neha ma'am to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Before moving to the vote of thanks, I request to all participants to kindly on your video so we can just take one picture with all participants.
I see a lot of familiar faces, I think.
Yes.
I think I have taught some batch.
Yeah, thank you, all of you. Thank you, Aditya, sir. I, Ms. Neha Naik, on behalf of Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti's College of Law, extend a hearty vote of thanks to our esteemed guest speakers of 3 days national webinar on research methodology. Day 1, Maria Angelina ma'am, Salim Khan sir, Dr. Abhishek Negi sir. Day 2, Dr. Sangeeta Desai ma'am, Dr. Mridul Nile sir. Day 3, Dr. Akhilesh Yadav sir and Mr. Aditya Warrior sir. In these 3 days national webinar, we get insight on various facets of research methodology. And it was indeed a great privilege to hear from such eminent dignitaries. And I'm sure that every listener participants here is enlightened by the vast knowledge and exposure we receive from all dignitaries about the research methodology. We thank you to all dignitaries for having spread your precious time with us during your busy schedule and made this event informative and fruitful. I would like to thank our very encouraging and supportive management, Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti, Dr. Rajendra Singh Sir, Honorable President, Dr. Usha Mukundan Madam, Honorable Director. Special thanks to the webinar convener, Dr. Mrs. Madhura Kalankar Madam. Without her tireless effort and kind guidance, motivation, this webinar would not be possible with the huge participants on online on Zoom app and live viewer online YouTube app. Thank you to Divyang sir for coordinating this webinar, all teaching and non-teaching staff, our entire technical and support team. From the participants, I would like to thank the various colleges, research scholars, our teachers, students for being a wonderful audience and making an event success. With this, we have reached the end of the session. Kindly register that the registered participants fill out the feedback form. The link has put in the chat box. Thank you to all. There is one announcement. All participants will get the participation certificate within 7 to 10 days. Only 4 participants who attend the 3-day program and fill the feedback link. Only that those participants will get the e-certificate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
There's a feedback form in the chat box. Please submit it now. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending a national webinar on research methodology organized by Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti's College of Law. We would plan such events based on your feedback. So please be in touch with us. Thank you so much.
One is the highest of 5 in the feedback form. वो पूछ रहा है.
Phi is the highest. So because 1 is the lowest, that's why phi is the highest. Uh, thank you so much once again. We are closing this session. Thank you.